The Spartan's back, and we're making headlines.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event.
Live from HBF Stadium Festival Hall, Melbourne Pavilion. Not even backstage, we're literally outside.
Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history?
Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up because we're
Welcome everybody to the Australian MMA podcast. My name is Mitch Tinley, and today's guest, the most polarizing man in Oceania MMA, a very talented 10-2 Antonio the Spartan Caruso, and he's as entertaining 3, 4, 5, 10 times and more entertaining outside of the cage than he is in, and he's incredibly entertaining inside the cage. Antonio Caruso is from South Australia. He has kind of made the trek over to America in previous years to train at Killcliff, which is a very well-known gym that has had plenty of UFC fighters. Antonio Caruso has been around for over 15 years. He's fought on Eternal. He was scheduled to fight David Martinez for the lightweight belt back against David Martinez at Diamondback in March 2024. Before David had his sort of mishaps with lightweight. Like I said, Caruso's fought on Eternal when Eternal went to Adelaide. It's kind of like really well-known fighter on the regional scene, but kind of one of those sort of exports where in recent time they've been trying to hone their craft overseas. Now, he spent time, I think, on the PFL Challengers series, which is kind of like to get into the PFL. He's fought on ONE FC. He's been around. He's definitely talented, and don't let sort of any critiques online sort of give you the illusion that he's not one of the best, if not like the best lightweights in Australia. So the backstory of a lot of this is there was a lot of back and forth between sort of the up-and-coming king, the human highlight reel, Harry Webb. There was a bit of back and forth online. Fights have happened, more issues have happened, more back and forth online, coaches getting involved. It's easily the biggest sort of rivalry in Australian MMA of two guys that are yet to fight. And we don't actually know if they ever will. You're going to find out a lot in this. There is so many bloody headlines. Antonio Caruso just like doesn't hold back. He is, like I said, so exciting outside of the cage and in. So we're going to get his thoughts on Harry Webb, the rivalry, sort of even Harry's coach, John Campbell, getting involved. Just got a lot to say. And honestly, Antonio Caruso has been accused by some people of like pricing himself out of fights, or fights he doesn't want to do. We get his thoughts on that, and I'll tell you what, it's a very nice insight into it's not as easy as that. And I feel like he will turn a lot of people by his answer when I ask him if he's pricing himself out of fights. But look, we very much could see Antonio Caruso versus Harry Webb in the future, but boy, we are throwing fuel on the fire of that, so hopefully it does happen. So we're going to hear from our friends at Vex, and on the other side is Antonio the Spartan Caruso.
Vex MMA has officially teamed up with PRP Global, and their brand new website is now live. Head over to Vex MMA to check out their latest gear, perfect for fighters and fans alike. Whether you're stepping into the cage or just repping the lifestyle, Vex MMA has you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Weirdly, the most controversial man lately. It's Antonio Caruso.
Hey, I don't know how, bro. I'm blaming you for that. I'm blaming you for that, all right? Straight off the bat.
What is it, man? I mean, why do you think Australia's like turning on you?
I don't know if Australia's turning on me. I just think a few people in the, let's just say, in the clicky part of MMA Australia are turning on me. But I don't think Australia's turning me. I think Australian MMA, I think a lot of fans actually appreciate me and love me. I get a lot of love and support from all over Australia. So I wouldn't say, Australia's turning on me. Just unfortunately, there's a bit of a clique out there in the Australian MMA world, especially these younger people. I'm not going to name any names just yet. But, they obviously have an issue with me.
You know who's turning on me? You. You turned on me.
I did for a bit. I won't lie. I'll be honest. I can't help it, bro. I'm an honest person, and I was sort of pissed off at you for a while. Then I thought, let it go, let it go. You know what I mean? The man's just doing his job. He's providing for his family, and that's cool. I get it. It's all entertainment. And you know what I mean? I let it resolve, and now we're cool again.
That's the game, though. But hey, mate, I remember when you were out in America, and I was like, bring Caruso back.
And hey, we're trying to do that. That's the thing. I mean, that's the other thing I got to say. As much as I was sometimes annoyed with you, I also got to appreciate you because you're the guy that got everyone in Australia talking about me again. But I was a bit like, I don't know how so many people sort of have forgotten about me. I was out there in the world fighting all over the world, competing in people's backyards, whether that was Alaska, whether it was Nashville, whether it was Singapore. Competing and representing Australia, and I wasn't getting much love and much attention. And hey, at least you sort of brought me back to the forefront of people's minds, whether it's good or it's bad. You know what I mean? But like Montana said, you know what I mean? Tony Montana said, "You people need me. I'm the bad guy, so you cannot point your finger and say, hey, this the bad guy." Okay?
Man, I've always been a big fan of you, but why is there all of a sudden this beef with you and like Harry Webb's team, and where did that come from?
I mean, hey, I can only speak on from my behalf. I'm not going to speak on behalf of anyone else. But I'll be honest with you, bro. I never heard of his name before. I didn't even know that he was fighting. And then just one day, I open up my phone and he's challenged me to a fight. Unfortunately, at the time, I had a fight fall through with David Martinez, so I had a bit of a sour feel about Australian MMA. I just lost $13,000 for a fight, and I'm really lucky and thankful for Diamondback Promotions with Ike over there. He sort of looked after me, even though I lost a lot of money for that fight after doing a camp out there in America, coming home to fight David Martinez, who supposedly was meant to be one of Australia's best. Pulled out on me the day before the fight just because he didn't want to make weight. I lost $13,000. Harry's called me out. At the time, like I said, I was fighting in America. That was where everything was sort of set up and that. My team was over there. He calls me out. I was over there engaged with that sort of stuff. I ended up fighting in July in America. He ended up fighting himself. And then I sort of made my way back to this side of the world. That's why I'm sort of training out here at City Kickboxing now. I've offered now to fight Harry. And in that meantime, he also called me a pussy publicly, went on to another podcaster, and told everyone that I'm a pussy. I was like, oh, all right. Well, then he thinks I'm a pussy. That means, in my world, that's fighting words. And I said, all right, Harry, we can fight now. Unfortunately, now I've heard that he's injured or his gym's got burnt down. So I don't really know. And now it's a bit of a weird situation where, he's calling me names, but then now doesn't want to fight me. So... And apparently I've got to wait at the back of the line. And I'm sort of like, bro, when you talk about the line, there's only like there's only three like 155 fighters in this country. I don't really know what line you're fucking talking about, mate. I'm apologies,
Well, going back a step, you mentioned missing out on 13,000. Was that your fight purse, or was that commissions for Adelaide?
No, sorry, I didn't miss out. I'm saying, as people got a lot of these fans out there. They they want to put shit on people like us fighters. People got to realize if you're not inside the UFC or if you're not in the PFL, mate, you're honestly earning. You're living on the bones of your ass sometimes. So I was living in America, trying to progress my career, trying to push and get as many fights as I could to obviously make it to those high levels again, 1FC, PFL, UFC, obviously. So I was training over there. Was struggling to get a fight in America. Then Ike hit me up from Diamondback, wanted me to come back over here to fight Martinez. And the camps are expensive. I'm living over there, paying rent, paying bills, paying for food. Also, trying to, me and my wife had a wedding coming up. Yeah, so I took that fight. My camp cost me roughly around $15,000. To come back to be told 24 hours before the fight that David doesn't want to show up anymore. David wants to stay home and look after his missus. So I don't really understand what that was all about. So then luckily Ike was a good bloke and he compensated me, slightly. But like I said, I still incurred a $13,000 loss. And like I said, I'm trying to create a family. I'm trying to create a life. I'm trying to create a future for myself. And that's what sort of left me with a bit of taste in my mouth. And that's where the loss came from with the money.
Can you also, there's a few things I want to touch on because I want to give you the opportunity to talk about it. People are accusing you of pricing yourself out of fights?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that comment a few times, and like I said to you before, it's easy to sit, on your armchair and say those sorts of comments. But like I said, I can show people how much money I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been traveling all over the world. First, I went to Thailand because it was much more cost effective to get over there. Then I eventually aligned myself with 1SC. Then I started going over to America because I had a bit more money to train and obviously push myself. Coming from Adelaide, we don't really have many fighters or coaches over there that can really take you to the next level as an MMA fighter. So then I started taking myself over to America. And like I said, my camps are costing me on average $15,000, especially being America, on top of, gym fees, coaches, etc. And so when Hex came to me, we had a conversation. They said, "All right, Antonio, we want you to fight Harry." And I said, "Oh, that's okay." I don't really know who Harry is, so I was a bit already like, "Okay, what's this fight for?" He's only 4-0 and he's a 24-year-old. I'm at the time 9-2, coming off a 1SC, and I'm 30 years old. I'm thinking, is it really a fight that do I need this fight? Like, he's just some young kid. So yeah, these are just my opinions. These are just from my point of view. And then when they said, "Oh, well, how much money would you want?" And I made an offer to them. They said, "Oh, we can't afford that." I said, that's fine. I didn't get upset. And then obviously that word got out that I've outpriced myself so I don't have to fight Harry. And let me just say this, and I'll say this on camera right now. If Harry wants to fight and it's all cost effective, I'll fight him. I don't care. Now I'm on this side of the world. I offered to fight him, and I'm happy to take a lower amount so these promotions can rip me off and make their money, and I'll fight Harry. So for those who call the pricing myself out, letting you know, Harry, and all your fans out there, I'm happy to do it now.
What's the number? Say it. Just say it. Put it out there.
I mean, to be honest with you, like I said, at the time, I'll talk numbers because I'm just that sort of guy. They asked me a number. I gave them I said, look, if Hex want you want me to fight him because I have to go to and from America, my fight camp. I said, I'll pay for my corner to come over because they have to come from America, and I'll also pay for my time in Melbourne. I said I want $12,000. Now that made a big. Yeah, I know you say. I know you laugh and say that, bro, but you got to remember, I had to pay for a wedding, for me and my wife, and and like I said to you, I spent $15,000 on a camp. They also did what you did. They laughed at me, but then 2 weeks before the fight, they offered me $10,000. So my point being is, they're very close to that number. Why didn't they negotiate at the time and say? But look, nevertheless, they asked me the number. I gave them a number. They said no. That's why, like I said to you, I've moved onto this side of the world, hoping that Harry would take the fight. Therefore, I can accept a lower number because now I'm on this side of the world. It makes things a lot easier. My camp will be on this side of the world. I'll be able to bring a corner over from this side of the world. You know what I mean? It's just logistics sort of thing. And yeah, so that's sort of what happened. But with the pricing out thing, I mean, those people can say what they want. Hey, you go get yourself a job. I'm sure you ask the boss for the most money, don't you?
Yeah.
So why me as a man and as a fighter would I not ask for the most amount of money for myself?
But could you be missing out on opportunities for $2,000-$3,000?
Look, potentially you could be missing out on opportunities, but now you got to see it from my point of view. Harry, at the time, Harry was 24 years old and he was 4-0. What opportunity do you think I really thought that was for me?
No, it's fair.
Yeah, because then I went over, to be honest with you, and I'm not knocking on Harry. I honestly think Harry's great. And that's another thing too. I think he's a good up-and-coming fighter. And all these promotions want me to fight him. And that's why I say to them, all right, but if I'm going to fight the so-called number one guy in Australia, I'm going to prepare for the best guy in Australia. And to do that, I'm going to need the best team, the best camp. Because when I come over, I'm a very competitive person and I plan to destroy this person. So I'm not going to cut any corners. And yeah, so... yeah, it's a lot in it, and I honestly, I'm not being serious. I've never said a bad word about Harry. I think he's a good bloke. I've got no issue with him. I think he's a bit of a big mouth. I think his coach is a pinhead, and when I see him, I'd love to slap him across the head. And you can even go on his Instagram and look at half the shit they talk about me. And like I said, when they're ready and they want to fight again, I'm happy to do it, man. I don't have any problems doing it anymore.
So basically, you're essentially saying that when it comes to sort of money, you don't want to sort of take a step down in money just for all these opportunities, because this is the critique on it is, would I fight Antonio Caruso? Absolutely, for $500,000. If you can't do anything less than that, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? But that's my way of not fighting you. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, and I know where you're coming from, but you got to see it from my point of view in terms of, like it's not like no offense, Harry ain't me. Harry called me. Remember that they called my name. I never heard of Harry for starters. He said my name. They called me out, and the promotion called me. Then they asked me what numbers I wanted. We spoke. They laughed at like you laughed at the 12,000. But then 2 weeks later, 2 weeks before the fight, they offered me 10. So it's like, look, guys, you could have actually got closer to that number and we could have maybe come to some sort of agreement. But look, that's in the past. Let's forget the past. Let's all agree and say I did price myself out. Now I'm saying on camera, you record me. Make sure this is recording.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
Harry, when you want to fight, let's do it.
How much?
I don't know. Let's see what the promotions want to offer. You know what I mean? Like I said, it all depends. If I'm at CKB now, training with these guys, I've made a connection out here, so I can fight for a better number. And at the same time, I do see the value in fighting Harry Webb. Now, I don't really know how he got so much hype behind him. I don't know how Australia think he is so good. I really thought I was Australia's number one lightweight, and I still think so. So Australia doesn't, so it makes sense now. It seems like to be a big fight that's going to make, Australia seems to love this fight. So if we can make this happen and it's going to get my name potentially out there even further, I mean, once again, it's risk versus reward. I'll take a lower cut to be the so-called number one in Australia. So let's get it on.
Give me a number you don't pick up the phone for.
$5. And don't laugh, bro. Don't laugh. That's what some of these promotions offer. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I know. Hey, you guys got an alright job. You just got to sit behind the mic and talk about fighting. Us guys got to train for 6 weeks. We've got to get away from our family for 6 weeks, and then we've got to get in there and fight the so-called best guys in Australia. So, guys, I know sometimes you might go 10 grand, 12 grand. It's like, remember, it's 6 weeks of work that we miss out on. Then we have to get inside of a cage and fight each other. Hey, and I'd say the same to Harry. I really hope Harry's getting himself good money as well, because at the end of the day, mate, I know I've been involved in this business now for 15 years, and I've seen a lot of horror stories. It's not all glitz and glamour. We watch and we see the Volkanovskis of the world, we see the Conor McGregors of the world, and great stories, beautiful, have awesome careers, awesome families, all the money. Then there's a lot of shocking stories out there for boys who were chasing, UFC, 1FC, PFL contracts for many, many years, and at the end of it all, they can't even afford to pay their rent. And I don't want to be one of those guys. I want me and my wife to have a good life. I want to have some kids. I want to have a beautiful life. So look, this is me being, now I'm playing a bit on the heartstrings here, but it's the truth, man. We got to look out for ourselves, and I'm sure a person like you does the same for you in your career.
And I want to establish too, the 12 grand is not laughing at your worth. It's only laughing in the sense of no one's given 12 grand.
I'll tell you for a fact, I heard some people getting paid 10 grand from Eternal, and I know from the inside, so don't worry.
Oh, well, even Hex came out and said that they offered Drillich 10 grand to fight Gauchi to break his contract.
Well, there you go. And what about all the ring girls and Brendan Favola and flying in Josh Coolabauer and flying in Martin Nguyen just to sit there and do a bit of talking on the microphone? Do you think they pay those guys too? You know what I'm saying? I'm the entertainer. I'm the guy that's getting us to do the job for everybody. So I'm, you know what I mean? That's where the fans got to see it from. And I love that I even love the fans that send hate to me, because at the end of the day, they're bringing eyes to the sport. They're bringing attention to us guys, and it's awesome. It does make the fight a lot more exciting. But you guys have to realize at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I don't want to be one of those guys who can't even pay his rent.
Well, final point on Harry, because I do want to move it on for you type thing. But other people are also questioning that you now are asking for the fight with Harry because he's hurt and he can't fight.
I know, because he said that. He goes, you asked me now that I'm injured. I'm like, bro, Harry, once again, I don't know you. I don't know your medical history. I don't even know where you live. And I don't even know where you come from in this country. If you're injured and I called you out and it seemed like I did that, I apologize. I didn't know you were injured. If you're injured, Harry, get better, rebuild your gym with your coach. And when you guys are ready, let's fight just like normal martial artists, and we can schedule a fight. We don't have to make it this big drama, what the UFC tries to do, turn into the WWE. And I'm happy to fight you, Harry. But if you're injured, take your time, mate, because I know that featherweight done some damage to you. But imagine what a lightweight like me is going to do to you. That's all I'm going to say. Because ask Martinez, he didn't want none of this either, yeah? Where's he now? What he got himself a little eternal belt. He hid from as many good fighters as he can till he found an easy belt to win. Yeah, good on you, Martinez, bro. Good on you. You wanted it. You wanted it. Now you got it. You're loving it. I know you're loving it. You're looking over we get this is juicy.
Well, this is the thing, man. I mean, I've always told everyone. I mean, I'm like, he is an entertainer, and especially if you can get a fight in Adelaide, you'll sell out an arena.
Hey, tell Dana and that, man. There is no one that can cut a promo like me, bro. I can do it. I was built for this.
Have you ever? And I'm assuming this is a similar situation. This next fight that we're about to talk about. But are you worried that at your age, and you everyone can understand the thing with the money? Like I actually do. The way you've put it out, I like what you're doing. But are you worried that you're missing, chances?
I know what you're saying, and I 100% agree with you, Mitch. But like I said, people keep saying chances. What chances have I missed out? It's only this one fight with Harry. And I know that a lot of you guys who are big fans of Harry and you see all this superstardom of who Harry is, I look at it from my point of view. I'm like, bro, you've had half the fights I've had. I've been around for a lot. The guys I fought in America were 7-2, had bigger and better records than you, been around longer than you. So when you talk of these chances, like you make out like Harry was an ex-UFC vet, won a world title, and it could be a huge fight for me, an opportunity, and Dana White's going to be in the crowd. But guys, you know what I mean? No offense. I know Eternal built it up and Hex built it up. Like, if you win our belt, you're going into the UFC. Well, look at David and look at what's his name? Harry. They've both got the belt. Are they signed? So what opportunity did I really miss out on? To you guys, it's some reason it's this big, huge opportunity. But to me, it was like, I don't know, it's just another Australian fight. And another thing too is, like I said before, right at the beginning of all, this fight came offered to me just after I had a bitter taste in my mouth after Martinez left me standing at the altar. So I had to also consider, do I go back to America, do all this camp, come back to Australia, and Harry might do the same thing and go, oh, no, I can't fight. And then I miss another 6 months of my career, and I also miss out on another massive, I lose a lot of money. So, you got to see it from a fighter's point of view too sometimes. So I was in that headspace at the time. I was like, man, I don't want to have to go all the way to America, come all the way back to Australia, leave my wife for 6 months. 6 weeks, come back to Australia and be told we're not fighting again because another Australian MMA fighter pulls out. And I've had that in my career a lot of times. And I forget it. There's been a few names throughout my career that have pulled out on me on the day, a week before. And yeah, it wastes my time and it wastes opportunity because like you said, I'm in a part of my career too. I'm 34 years old. I can't afford to wait 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. I'm not that age anymore. So yeah, so it's a lot of, and that's why I say with Harry, I don't actually have beef with Harry. I actually, all the best to him in his career. I really can't stand his coach. His coach is a big mouth fool. But yeah, I think all the best for him, and I hope he has a good career. But yeah, when it's time and he's injury free and he wants to fight, and we can put on a great show for Australia. Yeah, let's get it on. Because remember, it was more of an opportunity for Harry than it was for me. Because that's why he called my name out and I didn't call his name out. He might have that little cheap belt around his waist, but it really means nothing to me.
Have you lost any other opportunities? Because I like that you stay strong with your money. I actually weirdly do. I know promoters probably gives them headaches, but I understand it and I can respect it. But have you missed any other opportunities?
I mean, no, never. I mean, the only other fight that I've really been offered, I'm a real honest person, is Togo. And me and Togo have been friends for many years, and that wasn't over money. That was just me and Togo. I was friends with him. I thought it was a weird fight for me to take. But yeah, other than that, I've never really missed out on opportunities for money and stuff. This is the first one. Like I said, it was off the back of David Martinez leaving me at the altar, missing $13,000. Bitter taste in my mouth, thinking, annoyed at Australian MMA. To be honest, I was very frustrated with Australian MMA because a lot of people call me this and that and make names, call me names and whatnot. But I've had a lot of people in my career pull out on me, leave me, waiting. And I like I said, left a bitter taste in my mouth about Australian MMA. So, but no, I never, from memory, have never really missed out on many opportunities besides this Harry one. And once again, you guys say this opportunity, but at the time, remember, it was 4-0 and 24 years old. I'm 9-2 and I was 30 years old. Just came off 1SC, beat a 2-time world champion. No offense, who's Harry Webb? Yeah.
I think I mean more in the sense of like, has anyone offered you a fight recently and you've gone, this is my number, and they've gone, oh fuck, we can't do that. Does that happen a lot?
Nah, no, I don't. I mean, the only not often. Nah, that's why I went back over to America, and I was happy to sign with this new promotion, Tough Enough over there. They offered me a multi-fight deal on fighting international fighters. I don't know who they're offering me. I don't even know who they're going to give me. So, yeah, and to be honest, the money isn't exactly mind-blowingly great. But it's an opportunity to get myself out there in the world scene again. And another big thing is too, as a local fighter trying to get back out into the international scene, you're trying to find the best fight that I guess will elevate you to the UFC. And did I think it was Harry Webb? I didn't, but yeah, a lot of the fans did. So that's their opinion. This is my opinion.
So with this fight, Tough Enough, you've obviously signed a multi-fight deal. Does that mean you're done with Australian MMA?
Yeah, no. I mean, no, but in saying that, like, I mean, who off the top of your head, who do you think's going to fight me in Australia?
I think for 12 grand, it's going to be hard.
Well, let's not say 12 grand, but hey, give me a name who you think on the other side of the ledger would sign.
I think the world is a poetic place, and Harry, although injured, you do this fight, there is a weird amount of timing that I think would have worked out in July.
And let me just say this: I've also said to that promotion, and I've said to them, we want a clause in the contract that, okay, I won't fight anywhere else in America, but I still want to be able to fight outside of America, just in case.
Hey.
Someone comes off the injury list. Like, you know, like Mitch, honestly, I'm just trying to keep myself available, and I'm 100% open. I'm only looking to get back into international fighting. And that way I don't have to deal with shit money anymore. Well, the money isn't exactly great at the UFC anyway. And number two is you're not going to have pullouts anymore. And even if there is a pullout, they're going to get a replacement like that. And that's the reason I want to get consistent with my career. I would like to fight 2-3 times a year. And yeah, in Australia, I just don't think it was viable. I think it was sort of a waste of time. And yeah.
No, it's fair. Like, no one critiques me on the sponsors I turn down because they don't give me enough money. And they go, you're missing out on a couple $100 here. And I go, well, I'm looking for, like, and I get it. We are hypercritical of fighters, and especially people that, and it does my head in, that go back and forth with any fighter about ducking. And it's stupid. And I think when you're a professional, you are a business. And look, you might make what I perceive as a bad business move, right? Not saying I do, but I say I might. But it's your business. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
People critique you a little bit too much on that, and that's kind of why immediately when you called me out, I said, "Hey, let's have a chat." Because when people hear you, at least look, they're still. You think his coach John Campbell is going to be like, "Yeah, great points, Caruso." No, he's going to call you a bitch in the comments.
Of course, he's going to make another. He's going to make me another video and say Tony Caruso's a wanker and the Spartan's a pussy. And fair enough, like John, I love it. Thank you for the fans. I love you, John. You're my #1 fan. I'll send you a T-shirt in the mail. But yeah, I mean, but on that same ledger, are you not going to turn around out to Harry and say, Harry, you better up and get yourself fit because you got the biggest opportunity of your life to fight the real #1 lightweight in the world and stop fighting little featherweights. So Harry, hurry up. Even if you are injured, you better take this fight. People won't say that to him, will they? Because Harry Webb, they all love him, they want to kiss him. But yeah, he's got his life and his career to look after, and I've got mine to look after.
Hey, just so you were aware, when he fought Kevin Cophamel, the quote unquote featherweight that you said, right? I actually said, and I fucking love Harry Webb, I actually said that I thought Kevin won, and his whole team fucking hated me for ages. So let's just say I'm on the war front on both sides. It's not just you. Everyone fucking hates me at times. So I'm with you. Look,
you're that guy that everyone loves to hate. You know? And you're doing a good job. That's why you're doing good stuff. I'll give it to you. But yeah, like that's it. Hey, Harry and his team got a career to look after. I got a career to look after. Like I said, that's why I don't speak bad of him because, hey, he may be injured. He may have family issues at home. I don't know what's going on in him in his life and his career. Like I said, but when he's ready and he's available, I mean, it'd be a cool fight for Australia. And I think it makes good sense now. It does, in my opinion, A year ago, it didn't make sense to me, but now I'm like, wow, look at the hype. Look how many people are talking about this fight. I was like, that's why I came back to Australia. I was like, I want to take that fight. This makes a lot of sense now. This is a big fight for Australia. And if all I got to do is come back and beat this one person, and then I'll be considered the number one, rather than going over to America and have to beat 20 guys just to get any notoriety, I'm like, well, this makes a lot of sense to me now. This is a good fight. So when Harry's injury free, yeah, I think it'll be a fun fight for all of us.
And you'll drop that price?
No, I mean, don't say that. If you tell them I'm going to drop the price and then they're going to come to that price, you're going to shoot me in the foot, bro. Shut up.
No, mate, let's talk about Tough Enough. It's a good opportunity. It's a great promotion. How did this fight come about?
Actually, funny enough, a good friend of mine is over in Vegas at the moment, rubbing shoulders with some people over there. They were looking for a title fight for a lightweight. He said, I got a guy from Australia, you'd be interested. And funny enough, the guy that they've offered me is actually a guy I was supposed to fight on 1FC in 2019, who also pulled out on me. No, I think he got injured. Then I ended up fighting Peter Boust. But yeah, so now here we are 6 years later, I believe 6 years later, about the fight for a title. And yeah, so that's how it sort of came about, just word of mouth, staying in the business. And yeah, so now here we are, May 22nd, San Diego, about to put Australia on the international map again.
Well, it's UFC Fight Pass, like we said, May 22nd, 23rd, I think, for us here. But like, I'm sure everyone will be watching. Do you know much about your opponent and sort of kind of what can everyone expect?
I mean, I know a bit about him, obviously, because I was supposed to fight him 6 years ago. Other than that, no, he's just he's a guy like me, just fighting all over the world. Fought on 1FC, he actually fought Edward Falang also. I believe it ended up finishing because of like an accidental. I can't remember what happened, but yeah, he lost to Edward Falang. He's fought for Tough Enough once before he won. So yeah, that's about all I know about him. But yeah, and that's it.
That's cool. And are you expecting like a quick turnaround with these guys, or are you really just sort of this fight? We'll see if Australia's got something else, or what's the thoughts?
Like I said to you, Mitch, I want to fight at least 3 times a year, and like even I make sure it's in the contract. I want to be into the UFC as quick as possible, because that's where the money's at. That's where you're going to make a name for yourself. That's where you're going to have the potential to create, set up your life and your family. So yeah, I just want to stay active. I'm 34 years old now. I'm not really taking many more backward steps. I want to stay active, so I want to fight there. If they can get me a quick turnaround and I can defend my belt, because then they have fight every month. They fight in Vegas, they fight in San Diego, they fight all over the US. They're quite well connected with the UFC. Mick Maynard is meant to be at a lot of their shows. They're on the Fight Pass, like we said. Or if an opportunity comes back that Harry's injury free, or even Martinez, don't let him think that he's away, because he owes me a belt. Yeah, I'd love to come back to Australia and take the 70 and the 77 belt off both those guys. And yeah, so I'm down for whatever, and as long as it makes sense, Mitch, I'm happy to fight, and as long as it pushes my career in the right direction, I'm happy to do it.
Well, before I let you go to City Kickboxing, why'd you make the move over to New Zealand?
Well, funny enough, I just had my eyes on them for years. Obviously, one of the best gyms in the world on this side of the world, and I really like the guys. I respect the coaches. I've been in contact with Eugene for a long time about coming out here, and yeah, it's like me. To be honest with you, too, man. I'm a pure martial artist. That's why a lot of this drama and this bullshit doesn't make sense to me, because when I got into this sport, it was purely from martial arts point of view. It was to compete. It was to be the best martial artist I could. I was from the 80s movies, you know what I mean? Learning about all that stuff. And yeah, I appreciate the fighters they have on this side of the world. I appreciate the coaches they have on this out here in the gym. And yeah, it was just an awesome opportunity to come learn off such amazing athletes and coaches. And same with Killcliff. It was just an opportunity to be surrounded by some of the best martial artists in the world. And even if I wasn't to make it to the heights of the UFC, just to rub shoulders with these people, to learn from them is an amazing experience.
So are you still connected to Killcliff? Because now that you have a fight in America, why would you do a camp in New Zealand?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's where it's sort of, because to be honest with you, I'd already paid for a month rent out in New Zealand, because I really thought man, Harry's definitely going to fight me. He called me a pussy, 100%. So I took that boxing fight. I took that jiu-jitsu comp. Then I was like, yeah, but then in March I'll fight Harry. So I had my month paid for to come out here. Then he said no, but I still want to stay aligned with City Kickboxing and be really, I mean, I'm happy to stay between both the gyms because, like I said, it's expensive over there in America. If I'm just over in Florida, you know, fighting on local shows, earning, if I'm lucky, $2,000 a fight, you know, being in Florida is not cost effective. I'm losing, like I said, $10,000 a camp, if not more. And yeah, like I said, man, I'm trying to create a life and you know, for me and my wife and stuff and a family. And yeah, that's why I sort of thought, well, I want to continue to train martial arts and whatnot. So that's why I lined out here. But yeah, now the fight's over in America. Yeah, I'm still aligned with Killcliff. I still have good connection with those guys. I was with them for 6 years. I'm happy to, you know, always represent, you know, the gym. But yeah.
Well, okay. And I got to ask you one thing about the boxing. There was a comment about the guy that you fought borrowed his boxing shoes from his training partners. Did you hear that?
I don't know. I don't really know where they get their shoes from. All I know is what it was the end of this right hand, bro. I couldn't care what shoes they got, what sort of haircut they got. All they know is they're gonna get the Spartan, and that's all that matters, baby.
Oh, mate, it is always good to have you back on the scene, and I've just never seen a man just rile up so many people, being like,
I love it.
Oh, you are.
And you love it too, don't you?
I
Dare you're sitting there right now thinking we are going to create so much shit out of this one video. What this is going to go? What John Campbell is going to be stuck editing videos for days.
Well, that's the only. That's the one thing. Before I do let you go, I mean, May 22nd, UFC Fight Pass. You're up for the Tough Enough World Lightweight Championship. But before I let you go, you've said a lot. Final comments.
Peace and love, and go the Spartan. You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I love it. Look, I always do, as much as you drive everyone mental on the Harry Webb side. I'm always like, guys, I really like him. I do think you're incredibly skilled as well. You can't be to get to this level. You just can't be.
Thank you
and you're, like you said, a born entertainer. Let's just see. Hopefully one day when everyone else is making 12 grand, maybe they can thank you.
That's it, baby.
Take it easy, brother.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one.